Good morning and welcome aboard, everyone. My name is HarleyTrek, and these are the voyages. I do apologize, it has been a good while since my last motovlog. New Year's Day, actually. Today is the 31st, the end of January, and as far as I'm concerned, January can go hang itself. I expressed in my previous vlog that, I had high hopes for 2016 and how I thought things were going to be just fantastic. Well, on the 16th, this is Saturday night, the old man grabbed a fistful of throttle and roared off to heaven. It was sudden. I've mentioned before that my dad was a heart patient. He'd had open heart surgery now 3 years ago. Replaced 2 valves and a triple bypass. He'd had a heart murmur from birth, and back, I think when he was in his early 50s, he had had his first valve replacement. And then 3 years ago, they replaced that original replacement and replaced another valve as well, and did the bypass. And he was doing fine. He was, he always complained that he didn't have the strength that he used to. And of course, he was in his early 60s at the time, early to mid 60s, and had to retire. Back when I went to Biketoberfest, he was supposed to go with me, and he just wasn't feeling right. Just no energy, weak. Just really wasn't up to it. Well, after that, he went off his feed. His appetite went away, and started losing weight. And as a heart patient, he's on blood thinner, so he was going to have his levels checked every couple of weeks, every week or so. I'm not entirely sure how often he did that. And they just never, he complained about having a bug. He thought he had a bug. Well, they never would medicate him. They never would take him seriously, I guess. I don't know. His levels were never good. After that, he might hit a week or two where they were all right, but December was a rough month. Him and his wife were passing a cold back and forth. He just started going down, and you suggest taking him to the doctor, taking him to the hospital, and he just would not have anything to do with it. Refused, flat out refused. Afraid that if he went in, he wouldn't come out. Well, the old fool got his wish, because on the morning of the 16th, his wife called me and said, I'm calling the ambulance for your daddy. I said, call him, I'm on the way. So I get there, and he is EMS is already there. He's in the floor. They're working on him. And I'm not going to go into any horrific details or anything, but they get him to the hospital. We get there. We're in the waiting room for hours. They've got a whole team working on him, and basically what has happened is that one of his heart valves had become infected. Not a rejection, which can be an issue. Anytime you have a transplant or anything that this was a biological valve. I think it was a pig valve, which I always thought appropriate because he loved Harley so much. But it wasn't a mechanical. But they told us that it was very infected. It has caused septic shock. It shut his kidneys down. He ended up on a respirator. It shut his respiration down, and it slowed his heartbeat. His heartbeat was beating like 20 to 30 times a minute when they got him there. They were concerned about oxygen starvation to the brain. They slapped an external pacemaker on him to get his heartbeat up, and his blood pressure did not correspondingly rise. So that led him in a direction. But they told us that even if he was healthy, there wouldn't be a surgeon that would touch him for a third open heart procedure. And says we're going to hit him with every antibiotic we've got. But they did not express any high hopes that he would ever go home again. So this is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon when all this goes down. So they get him stabilized. They go on his neck and insert an external, well, a temporary pacemaker, not an external. And get him up to ICU. At this point, well, I don't know if I ever mentioned, but I have 5 siblings. 2 that I call full bloods because they were my dad and my mom. And then his second wife, he had 2, and then adopted 1. And the adopted one's the one I went to Oktoberfest with, but he's not he's my brother, and I love him dearly. But I had Brian in Florida, and then my sister lives in Charleston, South Carolina. I've got another brother in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So, I'm wearing out the phone all day long, texting and phone calls, trying to keep everybody up to date. I've got 2 siblings that live here, and they were there, of course, and we were going to trade off. I stayed. They were going to go get something to eat, come back and take the night shift. They get him situated about 7, and I go see him, and he's responsive. You can talk to him and he'll look. He can't talk because he's intubated. And my brother and sister come back, and I trade off. It's about 9:30 or so at this point. So I head for the house, and I'm going to come back in the morning. I'm not home maybe a half an hour before I get the call, come back. And I get back, and it's too late. He had already passed, and I don't feel terrible. I was able to see him before he passed. But major props to the hospital staff. They worked on him for like a half hour trying to get him started back up again, but he just would have nothing of it. He hung on long enough to see all his kids that were local, and then he rode on. His widow was incapable of taking care of anything, so I stepped up and handled all the arrangements and got everything taken care of. really is. Those of you who have done it, I sympathize. Those of you that have not had to, one day you will. And to quote Captain James T. Kirk, how we deal with death is as important as how we deal with life. And I hope to be a testament to him. So, I have Sporty has come to live with me, and every time I ride it, it'll be in tribute to him. So expect some Sportster vlogs in the future, guys. That bike will be mine until the day I leave this earth. Thanks for listening. I need to pay attention to what the hound dog I'm doing. Ride them if you got them, boys, and live long and prosper.